So what is up, everybody? It is currently like 3:30 in the morning as I'm recording this because I have to stay up overnight for a sleep schedule change. So for this video, I want to kind of keep this short and sweet. I'm going to be covering, as I have just prestiged again. As you can see, I am officially level 1 on this, and I want to talk about what you should be spending your unlock token on in terms of the level up tokens. So we're going to look at if you are prestiging for the first time, or even if it's for the second time or anything, what guns you need to level up first in each category. So, or what you should be unlocking first in each category. So for the first category I want to talk about is your secondary. Now, normally you will have 3 options for a secondary. The shovel's unavailable because it's a rank 35, as is the Panzerschreck, which is rank 18, and a few of your pistols here. I have the machine pistol unlocked because I used a prestige token on it. But normally what you will have access to is the P08, the M1 bazooka, and the 9mm SAP if you have the Resistance class Prestige. Of these 3 options, the primary thing that I would be going for would be the 9mm SAP for a sidearm. This is, out of those 3 options, far and wide the best option available to you. It deals more damage than the P08 does, it is more accurate, it has a higher magazine. This gun is just generally better than the P08. P08 is one of the worst pistols in my opinion. If you don't have the Resistance class Prestige when you go to actually prestige your class, I will give the bazooka the nod. The bazooka is not a particularly great weapon, mostly because of the fact that it is a close to mid-range explosive tool with low accuracy. The reason why I would recommend this over the P08 is the P08 is one of those types of guns where you're going to get off about 2 to 3 shots before the enemy kills you, and you need about 5 to 6 shots if you're lucky to kill them. The bazooka is a 1-shot, 1-kill, or at the very least you're going to scare an opponent into running away. If you do have access to some of the box weapons, the Enfield 2 and the Reichsrevolver are not particularly great. They are not better than the 9mm SAP. The crossbow is definitely what I would consider, though. If you do have access to the crossbow as a secondary weapon when you prestige, this should fill every single slot that you have, unless you want to run a bazooka class or a pistol class. If you want to run the pistol class, again, 9mm SAP. The next easy one to do is very simple, is the shotgun class. When it comes to shotguns, you'll have access to the combat shotgun. I did spend my token on the drilling just because I'm working on it, and if you prestige your expeditionary division first before you prestige your class, you'll have access to the sawed-off. This is a no-brainer. The combat shotgun is the #1 shotgun in the game. The only other shotguns I would highly recommend using are the toggle action and the blunderbuss. The blunderbuss, though, really requires hustle to be effective, which is a level I think it's a level 11. Yeah, it should be a level 11 basic training, and the toggle action, it can be hit or miss sometimes. But the combat shotgun is the undisputed #1 shotgun in the game. It has the best range, it has the best damage, it is the best shotgun you can run. The drilling is alright, especially in comparison to the combat shotgun, it's alright, but it's basically a glass cannon. It's 2 shots. If you don't get a kill with those 2 shots, you're kind of fucked. And the sawed-off is alright. It's one of those weapons where if you're at point-blank range, like at melee range, you're going to kill them with 1 shot as opposed to meleeing them to death. But other than that, this is mostly a gun you run as a secondary for a longer range weapon. Other than that, combat shotgun for the win, no question. When we talk about sniper rifles, this is one of the few times I honestly think you are better off wasting your token right off the bat. If you don't have other sniper rifles available, like if this is your first playthrough, absolutely your first token should be the Lee Enfield. The Lee Enfield is so much better than the Carabine. The Carabine is the worst sniper rifle in this game because it is a 2-shot weapon no matter what. There's no reason you should run this, especially if you are just new to the game. Please do not run the Carabine. Now, if you have access to the Prestige unlock for the mountain class, and you have the Kar 98K. This is a very solid sniper rifle and will take the place of the Lee Enfield. The Lee Enfield, it no longer becomes a required first pick once you get another sniper rifle in class. I would say the only other sniper rifles I would avoid, I'd avoid the Type 38, I would avoid the PTRS, I would avoid the WZ-35. Those are the only rifles I would avoid besides the Carabine if you have like another sniper. The Lee Enfield is pretty solid and all the snipers function the same. In my opinion, the Type 38 actually does less damage. It's just less useful. It has less ammo, it deals less damage, and it has a slower rate of fire than the Lee Enfield. The PTRS and the WZ-35 are both incredibly solid one-shot kill sniper rifles, but they have some weird drawback. The WZ is the slowest rate of fire because of the rechamber, and the PTRS has the slowest ADS time in the game, which really limits their use if you're like new to the game. But once you have if you do have the Kar or a different type of sniper, the Lee Enfield's not a mandatory requirement, as when you first start the game, you have to use one of your tokens on this. Next up are the light machine guns, and the light machine guns are interesting here. The Lewis, which is your starting machine gun, is a fairly basic machine gun. I can't recommend it, but I also can't knock it. The MG15 is a vastly superior version of this, and it's definitely worth an unlock token if you're just starting the game. But if you've prestiged already, if this is your first prestige, you've already prestiged and you have one token, I don't necessarily recommend the MG15. I don't think you need to waste a slot. The Lewis is perfectly fine. Like the sniper rifles, most of the machine guns are perfectly fine with the exception of one or two. For example, the Bren is the only machine gun I would not recommend for a beginner. If you do have access to the Prestige, the MG42 is probably a better option than the Lewis. If I'm being completely honest, the Lewis is a little bit lower damage and a little bit lower rate of fire than what I would like. The MG42 has a larger ammo clip, has a faster rate of fire. It deals roughly the same damage, but because it has the faster rate of fire and it has more ammo, it feels like it deals more damage. So this is a vastly superior option. If you have an extra token, go ahead and grab that MG15. This is a solid gun. I would say it's probably the best machine gun in class, but I'm not going to dispute that. So when it comes to the submachine gun class, I'm going to tell you right now, do not bother with the grease gun. The grease gun is, in my opinion, the worst SMG in the game. I hate this gun. This gun is so bad, it's not even funny. Use that unlock token for the PPSH-41. This gun has an insane amount of kick to it. Even though it deals good damage and has a large magazine, it has an insane amount of kick for it. This is one of those guns you want to level up relatively early so that you can get the grip on it, and it makes the recoil much more controllable on this. I think this is an absolute must to have. The MP40, if you have access to both of the division unlocks, the MP40 from the Airborne class and the ZK383 are both very good. They're going to fill different roles, whereas the MP40 is going to be a bullet hose with insane amount of damage for an SMG. It has a good size clip, 32 round magazine. It deals insane damage, recoil's pretty good. And then you compare this to the ZK383, which it doesn't deal as much damage, but it has this nice gimmick of being able to switch between fire modes. The reason why that's great is because you can use this almost as a mid-range weapon, as a mid-range sniping type weapon in the slow rate of fire, or as a close-range bullet hose with the high rate of fire. I think this is a really solid gun to use as well, as long as you're not using the grease gun. Grease gun is a gun that you need attachments on. For our last class, we're going to be talking about the rifles here. Your rifle options off the bat are not particularly great. The M1941 is, and this is because these two guns function so differently. So the M1941 is a automatic assault rifle. It has a 25 round magazine, it has insane recoil, and it doesn't do a lot of damage. The thing that's important to note about this is the type of gun that until you get a lot of experience with this gun and understand how the recoil works on it, you're going to get one kill and reload, and get one kill and reload. The only way you're going to get 2 kills consistently is if the second person you're killing is already weak, or if the second person that you're killing you hit with a headshot, a random headshot. Now, if you compare this to the M1 Garand, this is a semi-auto marksman rifle. It is a one-shot at a time type weapon, although you can rapid fire it pretty well. This is a reliably consistent 2 to 3 shot time to kill weapon as a round magazine, so you're going to be getting 2 to 3 kills per magazine before reloading. Either of these guns depends on the playstyle. When you look at like the submachine gun class, you pretty much need to use your first token on the PPSH. Same thing with the light machine guns, it's 50-50 if you want the Lewis or the MG15. Snipers, you need to use the Lee Enfield. For shotguns, you need to avoid using it on the drilling. Rifles is, again, this is another 50-50 what you want to use type thing. Now, if you do have the Prestige unlocks, like I said, if you have the Commando class, the AS-44 version, you can use this as a substitute for the 1941. This is a far superior option to the 1941. It still has the same problem with recoil, but with a much higher damage per shot, in my opinion. I don't know why, even though they're both listed as a 6, but this gun has a higher damage per shot. Just trust me on that. And in terms of the marksman rifle, the SVT-40, which you get from prestiging the infantry, is a consistent 2-shot time to kill. So again, if you have the choice between the SVT-40 and the M1 Garand, the SVT-40 is going to be the king of this challenge. So there you go, guys. That is what I'm giving to you. This is going to be my standard YouTuber type video. If you like the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm not plugging all that shit. Thank y'all for watching.